Joining us now, Julie Gunlock. Julie, how are you?
I'm doing well. Almost Merry Christmas.
Merry
to
Christmas.
You all.
Julie, is Julie Gunlock your real name?
It is, believe
It
it
sounds
or
very
not.
nanny
Do
state
you, have
like.
any, do you have any fake names that you want to share that you've ever used?
I mean, I can't even come up with a better one, right? I mean, Julie Gunlock, it's pretty good.
It is pretty
Hey,
good.
by the way, before we get into it with Julie, I want to let you know, you're usually here in studio with Cam. I wish you were here today because our
Oh.
good friend Andrew Langer brought in how many?
I bought in eight half smokes. Which,
Half smokes with
Are you-
chili cheese, mustard, onions from
Why
Ben's
are you
Chili
telling
Bowl.
me this? Why are you telling me this? That's cruel.
Well, Julie, you can come in and do. Listen, Julie, I got to tell you, I am so excited about this interview because it looks like I haven't read the book yet, but I know a lot of the stories
Wait, you
that are
mean
in
the
it.
book From Cupcakes to Chemicals,
Yes.
how the culture of alarmism
This-
makes us afraid of everything and how to fight back?
This issue of risk and
Yes.
risk assessment is something near and dear to my heart because it's my dad's profession. I learned all of this stuff from my father. But
He's a bookie.
Yes, that's exactly right. He's a racetrack.
What are the odds of
a
that?
racetrack tout like Larry King. That's exactly right. But no, I'm so excited to have that you're on with us today.
I'm so glad. Well, thank you. And, I think that this is an issue that really has become just, every morning you wake up and there's something new to be terrified of. So I think it's an issue that really deserves some attention. So I'm glad you're happy to talk about it.
This goes along with, and I know the book was endorsed by Lenore Skenazy, who's
Yeah.
the author of Free Range Kids,
Yeah.
as well as our own Cam Edwards on the back.
And Bill Cunningham, the reason I am in talk radio today.
No, is that right?
I swear to God,
There
Bill
you
Cunningham
go.
was my inspiration to get into talk radio.
So-
Oh, that's awesome.
So
I love Bill.
it's one of these things where obviously it gets down to this issue. We have this thing in America today called helicopter parents,
Right.
Because largely they misunderstand the risks faced by their kids. Talk about this and talk about how this leads into the nanny state.
Yeah, actually, I talk about helicopter parents in the book, and I talk about how they're the perfect messengers for the alarmist message because they aren't only nervous, but they feel it's their duty to make other parents nervous. So some of the biggest, people who pass these alarmist messages on, we have a lot of activist groups, and obviously the mainstream media loves these kinds of scary stories, but it's other parents, and it's mainly the helicopter parents who feel like, and this has happened to me. I've had people over for play dates, and the mom will come in, and she'll sort of, she'll be chewing her nails as I'm cutting apples, and she sort of nervously asks, oh, is that an organic apple?
my
And then
God.
she says, oh, is that organic milk you're pouring? And then I get a lecture from this woman on how I'm poisoning my children and how I should really be more careful. And so, here it is. This is a woman who I didn't ask for this information. She really was, frankly, being pretty impolite in my house. But she felt like she was doing her duty and warning me that I was doing harm to my kids. So helicopter parents are a really big problem. They're not only annoying, they actually make the world a worse place to live in. They make parenting difficult. They make you worry about everything. So. Yeah, they're a real problem.
And they are, frankly, and actually, you want to talk about making the world a worse place because in the very real world sense, not only from the public policy standpoint, but from a scientific standpoint, these are the parents who brought us the problem with superbugs because they have their kids constantly using that hand sanitizer stuff.
But what's interesting?
Which doesn't work.
Which doesn't work anymore.
Right.
So what's interesting about these parents too is, often these are the parents that are also the least likely to get their kids vaccinated. I mean, they're the ones.
Oh
who
my
are,
God, yes.
Who are terrified of this stuff, and yet so they moan and groan about things they shouldn't be scared of, and then when there are actual things they should be like. Serious diseases like polio, they're like, no sweat.
No.
I'm just gonna use some more hand sanitizer.
Right.
Totally fine.
They've got mercury in those vaccines. You can't do that.
Right. So
Yes.
I mean, helicopter parents are a really big problem. I think they're a huge part of why we see more and more people scared of things they shouldn't be afraid of. And look, the activist groups love this stuff, and people who want big government love a scared population, love scared parents, because the more scared we are, the more willing we are we sort of acquiesce to government intervention. We sort of say, hey, look, if it's gonna keep me safe, so. The left and sort of the big government types, they love this stuff, and they love helicopter parents. Those are their messengers, the people who spread the fear.
Talking to Julie Gunlock, our good friend from the Independent Women's Forum, author of this book I'm holding up right now, From Cupcakes to Chemicals. I'm not going to read the rest of it because I can't spare the breath.
I know.
Seriously, Julie, it's the only bad thing about the book. Everything else is perfect.
I know. My next book my next book is just going to be called like Scary or
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So, no, call it Bloomberg.
right.
So speaking of mayor, the outgoing Mayor Bloomberg, when you come in weekly with Cam, pretty much it defaults to something else Bloomberg has done that week, and he can't leave quietly. Now we're talking e-cig bans, styrofoam bans.
Yeah.
As we end this year, it's been as we talked earlier, it's been kind of a crappy year for a lot of reasons, but it's been a really crappy year when it comes to infringements and nannyism.
Yeah.
If you had to get do a top three, your top issues in this sphere, what were the biggest issues, and what should people be on the lookout for and start fighting back on in 2014?
Yeah, well, look, it's the end of the year. There are some. If I were to do top three most harmful, top three regulations, but I want to laugh at the end of the year. So these are my sort of the top three that made me laugh this year. The number one or number three, I should say, was the claim that your hand lotion is making you fat because it has.
Oh wow!
It is.
That's my problem.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Listen, I love this. I love this stuff. Okay, I love it when they tell me my hand lotion is making me fat, and it's not like the pizza and the big gulp that I'm eating and drinking. I mean, this is great. It's great for people who deny their own bad behavior. So look, God bless the people who claim hand lotion is making everyone fat. And then my other favorite sort of alarmist story this year was sequester, right?
Yes.
Because when sequester happened, the elderly was they were going to starve, school kids weren't going to get lunch, firefighters and EMTs just weren't going to show up. America was. You even had people saying like America could be invaded because our warships weren't going to be worked on.
The ironic thing is too. You're talking about all the things that are going to be cut. Now that we're seeing these stories with Obamacare is going to affect volunteer fire departments.
Exactly.
So the thing that they were trying to fight in the sequester, one of the side effects might actually happen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. No, but I have to say my favorite alarmist story of the whole year was when the Postal Service announced that they were going to be retiring 2 stamps because of concerns of alleged unsafe acts depicted on 3 of the
Oh my God!
That's
Yes,
right. That was the best.
That was the best. It was a picture of a child doing a cannonball dive into a pool, and the second one was skateboarding without knee pads.
Oh my God! What?
That's right. So I mean, and they actually did. They retired these stamps. They were let's move. So here, Michelle Obama, it's this let's move. Like these are all these great activities kids can do to stay healthy and lose weight. Yeah. And then, but of course, you have to be properly outfitted or you'll skin your knee.
Right.
So yeah, that was definitely the postage stamp was definitely my favorite alarmist story of 2013.
All right, just a few seconds left before we have to break, Julie. Being Christmas Eve and Christmas in a couple of days, what can we eat that we won't die from?
You can eat nothing.
Okay.
You'll eat nothing and like it.
That's right.
It is an egg. It's egg whites in water for you guys.
Well, so it'll be an egg white Christmas.
That'll be for them. I'll have the chili cheese half smoke.
You can have that.
Julie, I'll owe you a chili cheese half smoke.
All right, before
cool.
I'm going to try to let me take a deep breath. You ready?
Go.
From cupcakes to chemicals, how the culture of alarmism makes us afraid of everything and how to fight back. I don't need to go to the gym today. Julie Gunlock, thank you for everything you've done for us and been on this year, and we look forward to many visits with you in 2014. Merry Christmas to you and your beautiful family.
Merry Christmas.
Love you too.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Of course. Thank you, Julie.